And this is going to be a great opportunity for you to ask any questions you might have, because personalizing the maps, as you probably saw from this quiz, is going to be a big part, and we put a lot of focus on it. And then we're going to have an overall review to better prepare you for the final. So before we do that, socks of the week are Batman and Robin. You can't actually see that they have capes on them. And that is interesting. All right. We're going to jump right in. So we're going to start with the first map, which was for art. So after we reviewed their personal information sheet for fall, what are we going to do with PE composition? Anybody?
Can you change it to intermediate composition?
That's correct. So they've completed GE composition, so we're going to cross that off, and we're going to add GE composition. Does anyone else, anything else need to happen in their fall semester?
You need to take out the social and behavioral science because it's the easiest to move and put in GMS 90.
Perfect. Is everybody with me? Okay. If anyone has their back to the screen, can you just kind of turn sideways a little bit so that you can see it? All right, and then in spring, we're going to take away that intermediate composition because they already took it in the fall. And then we're going to go ahead and cross off GE math because they're not ready for that yet because they need what? They need 91, that's correct. Okay. So that's this map. Does everyone understand that? Okay, yeah.
Would it be wrong to like move the G social behavioral science and like write that in where like the composition was?
Not at all. That's not wrong. I'm not going to penalize you if you don't, but if you do, yeah, that's great. The question was if we write in G, social and behavioral, where we took away intermediate composition, is that wrong? It's not wrong. And it's just that I want to make sure that we're at least getting the main hits of what we need to take off and add. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Yeah.
I had just a different, I only have my retake quiz, so I don't have all the other, like...
Oh, you don't have all the originals. Oh, I didn't think about that. So the people that need a retake, they don't have their originals with them.
Do you want me to grab them?
Oh, do we have them?
Right? Were they together?
How did I do this? I don't remember.
Yes, let me go check.
Okay. All right. Just gonna go check.
Usually you keep it.
Yeah, you're supposed to pick it up first. So they probably just have it. Usually when you retake a quiz, they give you your old one.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I think we like get our old one back to study from, and then I don't think we hand it back in to Becky. So I think everyone that like retake the quiz should have it with them, but.
Oh,
If they
you
grab
haven't yet done it, then he has it. Is that what we're getting
Yeah.
at? Is that what we're thinking?
Right?
Yeah.
I'll say I retook it, but I remember handing my original, like, back
Okay.
in, and I didn't get that one back.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully Frankie will be able to.
Okay.
All right. Are we good to keep going? Okay. Okay, so our next one was kinesiology. So what are we going to do in the fall semester?
Cross off GE composition.
That's correct. And what are we going to add?
RWS 92.
Right. I put or 94. What's the 94 again? Does anyone remember? Non-native speaker, yeah. So you don't have to put that, you know, when you're working with the student, you might want to ask them if you have any doubts. But we do want to make sure that native speakers of English aren't going into RWS 94 because they will have to sub out. And then because we made that adjustment, what adjustment do we have to make next?
GE composition.
Yep. So we're going to cross off intermediate composition and we're going to add the GE composition. For those of you that added intermediate composition for the following fall, that's fine to do. I'm not going to penalize you if you don't, but it's fine to do that because it's just reminding the student when you're helping them that, hey, don't forget, you are going to have to take this. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. So let's stop here for just a second before we get into mechanical engineering, because this one was a doozy. anyone know what the Hippocratic Oath is? I see some notes. Can you tell us what it is?
Well, it's, will do no harm.
Yeah, it's a few things, but the main crux of it is first do no harm, right? That's how I want you to think about a map. First do no harm. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make the most ideal situation for the student. And unfortunately, some of our maps, while they look ideal, they're not, because they're not accounting for prerequisites and they're not accounting for remediation. So if we do something, and this will make sense in a minute when we go over it, but if we do something like say, well, we're just going to cross off that Chem 202, but we're not going to put anything in its place. We'll put a GE in its place. That's actually doing the student harm because we're holding them back. We're now adding even more time to an already pretty intense prerequisite heavy first year. So try to keep that in mind. First, do no harm. So the first thing we're going to do, according to this student's personal information sheet, they need remediation, right? So we're going to cross off Math 150, and what do they need? GMS 91. Okay. What should we do next in the fall term? We're going to look at the prereqs, exactly right. So we're going to look at the prereq first for Chem 202. And when we look at the prereq for Chem 202, we find that the prerequisite class is Chem 100, or they can have the ELN competency pass, correct? Somebody back that off.
Yeah, there's a placement.
Yeah, there is a placement, but somebody have one.
Knowledge of introductory chemistry is demonstrated by completion of Chem 100 with a grade of C or better, or satisfaction of entry-level mathematics required by
And the test. So, the prerequisite is Chem 100, or the student can take the chemistry placement test, but they also need to have the ELN competency satisfied. Do they have the ELN competency satisfied? No, because they have to take GMS 91. So, what they can do, if you look at Chemistry 100, you can see that that does not have a prereq. So what we're going to do, we're going to cross off Chem 202, and we're going to add Chem 100. Because the prereq for Chem 202 was Chem 100 or successful completion of ELM and placement exam, chemistry placement exam. So that means even if this student doesn't pass GMS 99, next semester they can go straight into 202 because they have the prerequisite of 100. Does that make sense? We want to be careful with the placement exams and think about them as like a go-to. That's more going to be if a student is kind of in a unique situation where they're really they don't have to worry about remediation, they're not sort of catching up. In this situation, we want to err on the side of caution and add that class in. That's usually what we want to do. And then if they can, for some reason, they are able to take that placement test, well,